We're discussing Brian Schottenheimer on today's Dallas Cowboys report by Chat Sports. Tom Downey here. Colin Cowherd claims that Shotty's going to be one and done, and Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk, our frenemy here, says that Shotty is on the hot seat. We'll break down why they said that, what they said, the realistic possibilities of that, if there are any. Before we dive into it, this Dak Prescott number shirt, t-shirt, jersey shirt, whatever you want to call it, was $39 on Fanatics. Now it's $10. I'm not a big shirt jersey guy myself, jersey, whatever you want to call it, but that's a no-brainer deal for me. So links in the comments section and the description of today's show. I already bought one myself. You guys should too. It's over on Fanatics. Chatsports.com/Dak. Shirt will take you right in to buy yours today. Let's go to what Cowherd said. His going through bold predictions for each division. His NFC East one was that Schottenheimer would be one and done. Here's what Cowherd had to say. This is the least surprising of any I've done in the last 2 days. Schottenheimer is a one and done. Jerry Jones will know by Thanksgiving he made a huge mistake. Forget the fact that Philadelphia and Washington will probably both blow them out in the division twice, which is, I don't know why I said forget the fact that they only follow up on it, but it's fine. Look, in general, national media, the talking heads, so to speak, like Colin Cowherd, are not high on Schottenheimer. And I get it. You can go back to how I reacted when they hired Brian Schottenheimer. This objectively was not a coveted coach. This is not someone that any other NFL team had interest in hiring. So the maybe overly healthy skepticism is actually valid if we're taking it from a national media perspective. Now, I promise you Colin Cowherd has not monitored OTAs closely. I don't expect him to. That's not his job. It's my job. Our job as fans, or not job, but our enjoyment as fans. Is worth mentioning as well, I don't know why we would assume the Commanders would blow out the Cowboys. Because the Cowboys should have swept them. If not for the one wild Marcus Mariota play, Dallas would have swept Washington. I think there are big issues with the idea that Schottenheimer is going to get canned as a one-and-done coach, and maybe one element that is worth considering in terms of the likelihood as well. Before we get into that, what is your confidence level in Brian Schottenheimer? Scale it for me from 1 to 10 in the comments section of today's show. It's the pinned comment, by the way, and I do want honest answers. Now, one of the arguments in favor that Cowherd made here was that one-and-dones happen all the time. And frankly, he's correct. In fact, you can look at the recent one-and-done head coaches. There were 2 in 2024, Gerard Mayo, Antonio Pierce. Frank Reich in 2023. Didn't even make it the entire season. Nathaniel Hackett, Lovie Smith in 2022. David Culley and Urban Meyer in 2021. Freddie Kitchens back in 2019. Steve Wilkes in 2018. Chip Kelly in 2016. We've been averaging more than one per season since 2021, and dating back the last almost decade, we're actually averaging one per year. In fact, it is one per year since that 2016 campaign. That's a trend. That's a statistical consistency that you're probably going to have one of these 6 guys go one and done. Ben Johnson, outside of Brian Schottenheimer, obviously. Ben Johnson with the Bears, that one seems highly unlikely. Mike Vrabel, the Patriots, unlikely. I doubt Liam Cohen gets canned since they fired the GM to hire him. Aaron Glenn with the Jets. The Jets have a weird owner, maybe, but probably not. The Saints and Kellen Moore. Possible. Do we think Pete Carroll goes one and done with the Raiders? Maybe he retires. That could be a dark horse if he doesn't think he has it anymore. So then Schottenheimer is the 7th option. Look, the odds are one of those coaches gets fired. Maybe you get back to the trend of every year and you have an off year. You don't have one this season. But, this actually is a real trend. And I think if you were to ask non-Cowboys fans who was most likely, they'd probably say Brian Schottenheimer. But I think there's a huge issue with that, which we as Cowboys fans know, or at least should know what it is. Before we dive into it, what is the % chance you think the Cowboys fire Brian Schottenheimer after just one season? I'm going to put it low, but I want to hear from you in the comments section of today's show. Kind of tying into this conversation, Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, put Schottenheimer in the top 5 of his hot seat rankings. It was Mike McDaniel at number 1 with the Dolphins, Brian Dable at 2, Shane Steichen at 3, Shotty at 4, Dave Canales at number 5. I guess we're doing blue/bluish teams for all of these here. Florio, as part of this article, also claimed the Cowboys hired Brian Schottenheimer over Kellen Moore because he was cheaper. I don't actually know if that's true, by the way, and there was no evidence presented outside of the claim from Mr. I don't traffic in rumors himself. He also questioned, this is what I find far more interesting, what, if any, buyout/guarantees Brian Schottenheimer got on his deal. And this is actually like there's always like one good point that Florio makes in his articles and then loses the plot for the other 90%. I would actually love to know the nitty-gritty contract details on Brian Schottenheimer. Not just the years, but like what the guaranteed money is. Like how many years are guaranteed? I need a real journalist, because I'm not a journalist, like Todd Archer, to give me that details. He's always been pretty good on that. These aren't just available on Spotrac or Over the Cap the same way that player deals are. It's not how it operates there. And I mention this because no guarantees, or even light guarantees, would be extremely rare. Most coaching contracts, if not fully guaranteed, get 3 or 4 years guaranteed. We know Schottenheimer's deal was short. It was only 4 years. It wasn't the normal 5 you often see coaches getting these days. Sometimes the outlier 6. I think it was Matt Rule 7 with Carolina, something crazy like that. Look, if I were the coach's agent, I would never let my client sign a coaching contract that wasn't vastly majority, if not fully guaranteed. That's bad business. Was Shotty desperate enough to take the job he would do it? Maybe. But if there are guarantees beyond 1 year, look, your owner has said he doesn't want to pay people to not work for him. That stuff will matter in this conversation. We'll come back to some of this of why I don't think it's going to be a one-and-done year for Schottenheimer. But will Brian Schottenheimer end up being a good head coach for the Dallas Cowboys? Y for yes, N for no. But in the end, for a variety of reasons we're about to break down, I don't think Brian Schottenheimer will be a one-and-done coach despite what Colin Cowherd and Mike Florio say. First reason, this is not the way the Jones boys do business. It's not. They always, sometimes to their detriment, give their coaches time. Jimmy Johnson, despite the disastrous ending, got 5 years. Barry Switzer got 4. Chan Gailey got 2. Dave Campo got 3. And you've seen Jerry kind of bemoan the fact I should have given Chan Gailey more time. Dave Campo sucked. I'm sorry. He was a terrible head coach. Bill got 4. Wade got 3.5 because, Jerry loved his adopted son, Jason Garrett, who got 9.5 years. Mike got all 5. They give their coaches time. And part of that is because of point number 2. They're cheap. They have self-admitted that they do not want to pay coaches to not work for them. They don't want to hire guys and then fire them 2 years in. They don't want to pay that. They've made a big deal about dead money for coaches, which isn't even a thing. That's just cash you don't have anymore as the owner. If you don't like your coach, just fire them. There's no justifiable reason for it beyond NFL owners trying to keep expenses down. 2 more reasons to come, but we are trying to have more subs in the month of July than we have in the previous 2 years here at the Cowboys Report. Frankly, so far, so good. Off to a pretty good start 2 days in, not even 2 full days there. You want more free videos? Hit that sub button right now. Now, I do think if the Cowboys were god-awful and won 3 games, they'd fire Brian Schottenheimer. But point 3 is, I don't think they're going to be that bad. They shouldn't be that bad. Even if they don't hit the over on the win total projections, that's still 6-7 wins. I don't think they'd fire Schottenheimer in that case. I think we'd have a lot of conversations about it. I don't think they'd fire him after the one season. I don't think they should be that bad. Maybe that's my own expectation of what ends up happening. If it's really bad, it's a completely different conversation. But I don't think they'll be that level of terrible. And finally, it would be the Jones boys admitting they screwed up, and they screwed up bad. And they don't like admitting fault. They will always find a way to pass the buck and say it wasn't our fault, we didn't do anything wrong. They will come up with an excuse. Going and firing a coach after 1 year, doing a one and done, is admitting we were wrong. that we screwed up. That's not the Jones boys way. The Cowboys, make no mistake about it, they want Brian Schottenheimer to work. Because if it doesn't work, it reflects poorly on nobody more than the Jones boys. Because they have told everyone, we know what we're doing. We are different than everybody else. We are correct. It's one thing to be wrong when everyone else thought the exact same thing. Like if Ben Johnson doesn't work in Chicago, is anyone going to be mad at Bears ownership for hiring him? No, that was a good bet at the time. It's like hitting when you have 10 in blackjack. You hit, you should double down. That's the right call. But when you're hitting on, and you're sitting on a 17 or 18, which is kind of what the Cowboys did with Schottenheimer, or you double down on 5, it's like, are you doing the right thing? Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. You better be right. Sometimes you are right. Maybe you're good at counting cards. But if you're wrong when you told everyone else you were right and nobody believed you, you just look like an idiot in the end. And they don't want that to be the case.